1 second. Look at her go. The sandwich contains, here we go, a pork tenderloin, half pound of Angus steak burger, 4 slices of brisket, 4 slices of thick cut bacon, 2 chicken patties, or breasts, I should say, and 4 pieces of fried cheese. Then it is smothered with melted white cheddar cheese and loaded onto a bun. And it also comes with a pound of waffle fries. This isn't Molly's first rodeo, by the way. She has set the eating record at all 7 Jethros and Ames. She's a petite woman for all of that.
She's a professional eater.
Yeah, well, so if you're that good, you might as well.
Not very neat, but professional. It's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now. Right now at 5, Democrats are introducing a new proposal that would make Wisconsin employees eligible for paid time off. We'll tell you how it would work. And how a group of Madison residents might get a little help to cover a newly proposed wheel tax across the city.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. An estimated 2.7 million people in Wisconsin would be eligible to take paid time off of work to care for sick family members or newborns under a bill introduced today at the state capitol.
Something that certainly affects a lot of people, but this is Democrats' 3rd attempt to pass this bill. As Rose Schmidt explains, it has failed to receive any Republican backers. Rose?
So the idea behind this proposal is that a small percentage would be taken from an employee's paycheck and put into a trust fund for when they need to take time off. Supporters say it's no different from saving for retirement, but it will likely face opposition from groups representing employers.
At 18 months old, baby Liam is babbling up a storm.
Alexa, play Baby Shark.
He's now on his first 10 words, one of them which is Alexa, asking for Baby Shark on a regular basis.
Liam's dad, Scott Resnick, recounts many sleepless nights, but says there have been many more adventures.
I will say the joys of parenthood is something very special that my wife and I get to experience.
But Scott says there are many parents who also face financial hardships when they bring a new baby home.
I was able to take 10 days, but my wife took 80 days of unpaid leave.
He spoke at a news conference Tuesday in support of a bill that would offer up to 12 weeks of family or medical leave for parents like him or people in Wisconsin caring for an aging parent or grandparent.
Families lose millions in wages by taking unpaid leave, reducing their time at work to care for family members, or paying for child care.
Senator Janice Ringhand from Evansville is authoring the bill for the 3rd time, but the proposal has failed to receive support from her Republican colleagues.
As time goes on in more states join in, that people will see the value of it.
Supporters say much of the opposition comes from the business world's hesitancy to offer paid leave. Ringhand notes, though, that the program would be paid for completely by employees who choose to participate and not their workplaces.
A couple of him on the field.
Scott is also a chief operating officer of a design company with 24 employees, so he says he can understand those concerns.
So any single individual who takes time off, it's a bearer that we need to take care of as an entire company.
But in time, he says he hopes paid leave is seen as a benefit to the workforce in providing financial security for families who need it.
In a previous session, the bill got a public hearing, but it has failed to get any bipartisan support. Republican leadership did not respond to my request for comment today, and the state's largest business lobby, Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, says it needs to see the language before it can provide any position on this bill.
Certainly an interesting concept,
definitely.
to say the least. All right, thank you, Rose.
Thanks, Rose. The gusty weather, it just seems to continue. Hopefully it'll end soon. Let's get a look at our first alert weather. Meteorologist Gary Canalti. He's bundled up onto the weather patio a bit. Gary?
Yeah, it is breezy out here, but the winds are dying down. That's a good sign. They're not as strong as they were earlier. The strong swirling storm system now lifting to the north and east, and skies are actually starting to clear across western Iowa and western Minnesota, so we should see some clearing later on tonight, and the few light showers that there are around should probably move out of here over the next couple of hours, and then that should be it for the rain chances for tonight anyway. Temperatures are in the mid-40s here in Madison, around 50 out to the west where the skies have started to clear a little bit, but notice the wind winds, still in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range with some gusts up around 30 to almost 40 miles per hour down toward the Illinois state line. But the winds will die down tonight. Skies will turn partly cloudy. Low temperatures dropping to the middle 30s. Tomorrow, though, the showers will be back in the afternoon with a high of 52. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
All right, Gary, thanks so much. We are now on day 2 of the trial for a man connected to a 2017 Rock County stabbing death.
And today, several key players in that case took the stand for questioning. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter has been following the trial. He joins us now with the latest. Adam?
Yeah, well, Eric and Danica, this week's trial is all about figuring out what role an associate of Julian Collazo named Nicole Kazar played in the 2017 stabbing death of Christine Scasia Lubeck. Now, today, several people testified in front of the jury, including an arresting officer who found Collazo and Kazar in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Also taking the stand today was the Rock County medical examiner, a detective with the Janesville Police Department, and someone who Collazo allegedly confessed the crime to after being arrested in 2017.
Just like in any little jail, I guess people talk to each other. The defendant just started talking about what had happened. Did he tell you whether he killed somebody? Yes. What did he tell you? He said that he had stabbed a woman multiple times in her abdomen region.
Now, this trial is expected to take at least several more days. And again, we'll really dive into what role Nicole Kazar played in that 2017 stabbing death. As more details do become available, we'll continue to update them on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, Adam Duxter live in our bureau at the Janesville Gazette. Adam, thank you.
Law enforcement are hoping that farmers, hunters, and hikers can help find a Madison woman who's been missing for months. Dane County deputies say 23-year-old Anastasia Evans has been missing since May 4th. The Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking rural property owners in particular, as well as those who frequent public lands, to be watchful for anything out of the ordinary.
Beloit police arrest a man after he drove through his garage and struck another house yesterday afternoon. Officers say 41-year-old Peter Klinkhammer drove through the back of his garage on East Welty Street and then continued through backyards and crashed into the back of a house on East Club Lane. There were people inside that home at the time of the crash. No one was injured. Klinkhammer taken into custody on suspicion of operating while intoxicated.
Authorities in eastern Wisconsin say they now know who killed an 18-year-old woman more than 30 years ago. Tracy Hammerberg was found dead in a driveway in Grafton back in 1984. Police say she'd been raped, beaten, and strangled. At the time, police revealed Hammerberg had been at a party the night she disappeared, but they had no solid leads. However, the Ozaukee County Sheriff's Office was able to match DNA through a public genealogy database that returned a match last month. Philip Cross has now been identified as the suspect. He died of a drug overdose in August of 2012.
This is a case where there was not a direct DNA match, but there was familial DNA matching. By identifying family members of the suspect, and in this case, not even a close family member, a second cousin.
At the time, 21-year-old Cross was working a second shift job in Grafton. He lived with his parents in the town of Port Washington.
Low-income women on the nutrition program WIC will be reimbursed after paying Madison's $40 wheel tax.
That's thanks to an amendment to the city's 2020 budget that was passed by the Finance Committee last night. Amanda Quintana joins us now with more on who will benefit. Amanda?
Last night, the committee voted to reimburse low-income families who see the $40 wheel tax as another burden. They voted to take $100,000 from the transportation budget to give $40 gift cards to the about 2,500 families who are recipients of WIC, the federally funded supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children. They'd be able to use that money on the gift card for anything.
One money could be that you need it to pay your electricity bill. You may need it for food. It really may vary. So for me, it was important to make sure that we just allow them to decide where is it that they want to spend the $40.
While this may help many families, some say it's not enough. The president and CEO of the River Food Pantry says this amendment is limiting, only focused on women with young children, when there are a lot of other people struggling, and the $40 city tax plus the $28 county tax will really hurt them as well. We'll take you to the River Food Pantry and hear more about the other groups this amendment could be leaving out at 6. And remember, this final budget still does need to be approved by the council, and that happens in 3 weeks.
All right, Amanda Quintana reporting for us. Thank you, Amanda.
Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says he won't do anything with gun control despite the governor's call for a special session. Governor wants the legislature to take up a universal background check bill and a red flag proposal that would allow judges to take guns away from people determined to be a risk to themselves or others. Senator Fitzgerald says he intends to convene the special session and then immediately adjourn it without taking any action. Governor Evers and the Democrats point to polls showing 80% support for the ideas as a reason to vote on them. But Fitzgerald says the governor is, quote, playing politics with the issue.
Wisconsin's Josh Kaul, the attorney general here, has joined a multi-state coalition of attorneys general investigating Facebook over antitrust issues. The bipartisan group includes attorneys general from more than 30 states, as well as the District of Columbia and Guam. The probe was announced last month, and critics fear that Facebook can squash competitors either by buying them or mimicking their services, reducing options for consumers looking for comparable services that do less tracking for targeted advertising. Kaul said in a statement that a lack of competition can stifle innovation and hurt consumers.
Madison School District is considering putting a referendum for high school upgrades on the ballot early next year.
Amy Reed joins us now from La Follette High School to show us how we can all get involved in this process. Amy?
Tonight is the first of 4 meetings, one at each of the high schools, where the district is looking for your input on its plans so far. Right now, the school board is considering asking for $70 million for each of the high schools. Here at La Follette, I'm told that there really isn't a part of the school that wouldn't get touched. Upgrades for the gym and theater and AC for the whole school would be part of that. But these meetings are really a chance for you to get your opinion in on the mix. So tomorrow, they're going to be going to East High School. Week after next, they're going to West and Memorial, and we'll give you an update on tonight's meeting at 10.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Amy Reed reporting for us from La Follette High School. Thank you, Amy.
It is that time of the year. Freak Fest set to take over downtown Madison this weekend with major street closures. Johnson, Dayton, and Lake, they'll all close at 5 p.m. Saturday. By 7 p.m., you'll need a ticket to get on State Street. 3 live music stages set to go until the early hours of the morning. Freak Fest has come a long way since the mayhem of the early 2000s when police made over 300 arrests. This year, they will continue to put hundreds of officers in the area, a year's worth of preparation culminating on one very big weekend.
We're prepared. As soon as this event is over this year, we're going to start planning for next year. And so trust that all of your city and non-city agencies have taken a big role in planning this event, and we are pretty confident that we'll have a safe event this year.
And police want us to remind you, no alcohol or glass on State Street, and with costumes, don't bring anything even resembling a weapon, or it will be confiscated.
The giving season is starting a bit early for students at a Verona school. Kids at Glacier Edge Elementary are distributing socks for Socktober. The students are donated more than 2,000 pairs to the Badger Prairie Needs Network. Now, the teacher behind the Socktober movement says this is a teachable moment for her students.
When they do their posters and they do their writing, they'll often include a picture at this age, and a lot of pictures include somebody with no socks on, and then how they get socks and they're happy, and they think about how people don't have all of the things we take for granted.
It's been a very good experience for me, and it's been my second year, and I like being part of it.
Returning participants, that's what we like to see. Schools in New Glarus and a local daycare have collected an additional 1,300 pairs of socks for this drive.
After more than 3 decades in service, a popular sports bar on Madison's west side will close. Babe's Grill and Bar announced it'll close November 16th. Employees said the Schrader Road building set to be demolished on November 26th. An apartment building going up in its place. The owners of Babe's plan to open a new restaurant in the bottom of that apartment building. It will not, however, be a sports bar. Construction on the new building and restaurant should be finished by the end of 2020. I went there on my job interview when I came
Did you
here
really?
22 years ago. I went to Babes for lunch.
We go there a bunch for our sports stories whenever
Madison
we need it.
institution.
It really is,
Hard
yeah.
to believe it's going to be gone. All right, more to come on News 3 Now at 5 up next. Why lawmakers say a presidential tweet about the impeachment inquiry is crossing the line.
Plus, coming up tonight at 6, why a Madison venue and cafe is apologizing and changing its name. We'll tell you more about that at 6.
And a quick check of the markets in Tuesday trading. The Dow falls almost 40 points. The Nasdaq drops 59, while the S&P loses 11. And we will be right back. One of the president's most recent comments about the impeachment inquiry is drawing some backlash.
A tweet from President Trump comparing the House impeachment inquiry to a, quote, lynching is sparking outcry from Democrats on Capitol Hill and on the 2020 campaign trail.
How dare he? And yet again, it is an example of Donald Trump having no appreciation for the history of this nation.
He's not comparing himself to those dark times. Let's be very clear about what he's doing. He is receiving zero due process from Democrats on the Hill. That's what he's talking about.
Meanwhile, Wisconsin's Republican Senate Majority Leader and candidate for Congress, Scott Fitzgerald, is breaking with President Trump over his comparison in the ongoing impeachment probe to lynching. Now, Fitzgerald told reporters, quote, "That's a terrible word. I would never use that word. I wish the president hadn't used it because I think it's unfortunate." Fitzgerald is typically a strong supporter of the president. He calls this impeachment inquiry a, quote, political witch hunt.
The ceasefire in northern Syria is now over, and Kurdish military officials say their fighters have left the area that borders Turkey. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkey will now take joint control over Syrian territory that had been held by the Kurds. President Trump's decision to withdraw troops from Syria has been widely condemned by both Democrats and Republicans, and even some of his strongest supporters are pushing him to stop the withdrawal.
I hope the administration is trying to mitigate the damage done by the decision to withdraw from eastern Syria all the U.S. troops.
On a visit to Saudi Arabia, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said the troops will now head to Iraq until the next steps are decided.
Switching gears now, let's get a look at that first alert forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolti in with that now. Gary?
Well, Danica, the large mass of clouds that's been sitting over us for much of the last couple of days is starting to break up out to the west. Notice how fast those clouds are moving, though, because the winds are very strong. They are starting to die down a little bit. The wind advisory has been dropped for all of southern Wisconsin. It does continue over parts of southeastern and eastern Minnesota and northeastern Iowa until 7 p.m. But you can see the strongest wind gusts today have generally been just to our south and to our west, especially where the land is flatter once you get away from the Mississippi River. A lot of wind gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. Down to the south, some upper 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, but the winds not quite as strong, still pretty brisk, up into the 35 to 45 mile per hour range through much of Wisconsin, but those winds are starting to diminish a little bit, and the showers are also starting to move out. A little batch between Madison and Milwaukee, but skies are actually clearing farther out to the west. We'll see skies turn partly cloudy overnight. The live view from the WISC Skycam looking down toward the Capitol, you can see how the camera is shaking in the wind. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing the fast movement of the clouds looking off toward the southeast. But as we look at the almanac for today, our high temperature did make it up to 51. I think that was earlier today. Low temperature is 45, and right now we're sitting just above that at 46 degrees. Skies are mostly cloudy. The winds out of the west at 14 miles per hour. Occasionally we've been seeing some gusts in the 25 to 30 mile per hour range, and the humidity at 68%. Checking out temperatures in the upper Midwest, notice lower 40s, even a few upper 30s in northern Minnesota, mid 40s here, but sunshine out to the west has allowed temperatures to at least climb into the lower 50s through much of Iowa and into parts of southeastern Minnesota. That's what we'll see for tomorrow. Compared to 24 hours ago, our temperature is running about 15 to 20 degrees colder, but it is a little milder out to the west. And I think our temperatures will rebound back into the lower 50s by this time tomorrow, but there'll also be some shower chances at that time. Notice the winds still in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range. They're generally out of the west now as that area of low pressure lifts to the northeast. These are the current wind gusts, and you can see you don't see the 40 or 50 mile per hour gusts. They're more in the 25 to 35 mile per hour range. Weather track shows the upper level winds now out of the northwest as that big trough of low pressure spinning around that area of low pressure near Lake Superior heads off to the north and east. That will allow us to dry out for a little bit, but it also will bring in the next weather system pretty quickly, and that'll be in here for tomorrow afternoon, bringing some scattered showers at that time. The little trough of low pressure is probably the last weather disturbance coming through. Again, skies are clearing out west of the Mississippi River. Temperatures 40s and 50s, no really warm air to speak of anywhere across the Midwest. No, already temperatures are in the upper 30s in northern Minnesota, but you can see on future track how the skies start to clear a little bit for tonight. That next weather system comes in with some showers tomorrow afternoon, and they clear out tomorrow evening, and then we're back to dry weather for Thursday and Friday, but temperatures will be on the cool side. Forecast for tonight, cloudy skies this evening, any lingering showers ending, then breezy, cooler, and turning partly cloudy overnight with a low of 36. For tomorrow, look for partly sunny skies early, then we'll cloud up in the afternoon, and here come the scattered rain showers in the afternoon with a high temperature of 52. As we check out future track, the last of the showers should clear out of here very early this evening. Skies will turn partly cloudy overnight, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, the clouds move back in, along with some showers in the afternoon, highs in the lower 50s. Showers will clear out tomorrow evening. We drop back into the middle 30s by early on Thursday morning. Thursday, look for variably cloudy skies, maybe a little more sunshine in the afternoon, highs only in the mid-40s. Rainfall amounts, quarter inch, maybe a half inch in a few spots south of Madison, but the 7 to 10 day forecast calls for cool weather Thursday and Friday. A little milder for the weekend. Can't rule out a chance for a shower from Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then the middle of next week will turn colder with some rain and snow showers. Wednesday should be dry, though, for Halloween Thursday. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, there's the view on the Beltline of Verona Road. There was a stalled vehicle there earlier. That has cleared up very nicely. Still seeing delays on the Beltline eastbound from Monona Drive to just east of Verona Road. Road. And then we've got a stalled vehicle on Highway 30 near Stoughton Road and some delays northbound on US 12 heading out of Middleton. Right now, it's a 26-minute commute on the Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 22 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, the usual 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990 from the Beltline. It's 23 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, thanks to that little delay north of Middleton, and 19 minutes to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
Okay, Gary, thank you. Just ahead, why more and more parents are needing to have that talk with their adult children about finally moving out. The story next at 5. Despite a strong economy and low unemployment, many adult children are leaning on their parents for financial support. A Merrill Lynch survey last year found 79% of parents financially support an adult child between the ages of 18 and 34. Some have their kids living at home, others are paying the children's bills. 25% said they would be willing to draw from their retirement savings to do so. Experts say high student loan debt and low wages for entry-level jobs are big reasons why many young adults are depending on their parents.
You say to your kids, okay, it's time for you to get back on your feet. We get that.
So have that tough conversation.
Exactly. We're going to have a hard talk right now, and we're going to set some boundaries, some ground rules.
Some of those ground rules include setting a move-out date and having adult children contribute to rent, utilities, and groceries.
Even though federal law requires mental health conditions be covered like any other medical diagnosis, families across the country still struggle to get their kids' treatment covered. Take Sylvia Tawes, a mother whose son was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder in his teens. He's been hospitalized more than a dozen times, and still she keeps meticulous records of her efforts to get him treatment. Tawes says at times her insurance provider tells her that he'd only get admitted into a residential care facility if symptoms got worse, leaving her hoping his condition did get bad enough to get him the help he needs.
There's thousands of families in our situation, and they eventually give up. There's no more money to fund care.
Earlier this year, a federal court ruled in favor of patients in a class action lawsuit against United Behavioral Health, saying its guidelines were flawed, unreasonable, and more restrictive than generally accepted standards of care. You can tune in tomorrow to CBS This Morning's 8 o'clock hour for a special Stop the Stigma Mental Health Awareness Hour of coverage.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Gary joins us now with one more check of that weather.
Looks like the last of the showers are going to move out of here pretty quickly. They're between Madison and Milwaukee and heading eastward. Temperatures, though, are on the cool side, only mid-40s, few places around 50 out west. Those winds are starting to diminish a little bit, still seeing some wind gusts up around 25 to 35 miles per hour. Otherwise, look for cool weather the next couple of days. Some showers tomorrow, and then some more rain and snow chances by Wednesday of next week.
And we'll have more updates in 30 minutes on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.